Hey everyone, Meadoshi here. Maybe you were disappointed that I didn't quite hold on in my last game against Spyfox at the 5th round of the SlickNick Custom Open, but fear not, because as a consolation, I did get the code for the 6th and final round. So I'm going to be playing through that and seeing if I got the chops. Wally is always a good pick, so I'm gonna pick him. And then, much like the other codes before, it uses the hole and power addresses for the holes of PCG. So that's the course I got to pick to make it work. All right, so the first hole on the loadout is PCG 13 with pretty strong headwind and this left pin on the mound. Unlike hole 1, I feel like this pipe is more risky because it's a lot harder to bail if you mess up. So with the first hole, you can slice and bail pretty reliably. Here you can't bail out as reliably because if you try to hook over here, then depending on the weather, you might end up hitting this hill or something else. So if you're doing that, then usually I recommend hitting a high shot to this pipe regardless, but I'm not going to do that here. But if it was a competition where it was like deep in the round and I needed to make up a hole, then yes, I would go for it. Or if I felt like a badass, then I would go for it. But, you know, nothing saps momentum faster than getting out of bounds. Alright, way downhill, so... And then this whole stretch going up here, it goes quite a bit uphill, as well as, you know, you're landing more steeply, so it's not going to run as much as typical. So that kind of allows me to actually punch against this wind more effectively.
Nice shot.
Alright, so I'm the green at least, but it's quite a bit up, but not breaking much. Just a little perk at the end here. Okay. 30 would have probably been iffy. 29's good. Badlands 14. Ooh, rain and giant headwind. That's ick. This hole's already damn long as is, but now it's making it play longer. Now, a power character, you'd be inclined to go up here for, you know, a nice perch to play, you know, whatever wood that basically will stop dead upon landing there, but I'm not fully certain that Wally will get up there safely, especially if I like sliced or something. So I'm gonna just go down here. I should be hitting low enough that I won't have a problem hitting it if I don't go like full power and slice or something. And even if I did slice with less power, then I wouldn't carry enough to even hit the rock in the first place. So this is actually a pretty good perch here. Yeah, so with all this weather here, it means I'm going to be losing a fair deal of carry. And this green goes mostly uphill, so with you know, the correct amount of spin, this actually won't roll much. Maybe something like this will work.
Nice shot.
Draw over a bit.
Nice.
That seems aligned decently. Okay, so we got a little slope to work with. Alright, a little slope to work with. Nice and brisk shot that hopefully doesn't do anything weird. Okay, definitely almost overhit that, but you can hit downhill putts harder than you'd expect. Because mostly what's happening is that, if you think of like, you know, the acceleration of a putt as like a snake with a tail that's thinning out, a downhill putt is essentially stretching the tail. But of course, that said, depending on your line, you could actually afford to cut a very significant amount of power. So yeah, Badlands 2 here, big crosswind, so not too bad of a pin. So honestly, probably my best idea was just cutting this hull in half because I don't carry quite enough to reach that far fairway with Waluigi. Just fine. This is another one where I could pretty much kind of let the ball coast. It's sort of uphill. Tension backspin would have probably been great there though, because I didn't lose as much carry as I expected. Thought I was going to be hitting more of an upslope. Didn't break too much here. Nice 30 would have been a little more comfy, but that works. Alright, 3 birdies. This is good. Alright, what do we got? Par 3. Oh, shudder to think. Latitude 3. Giant headwind, giant tailwind. And this gnarly flag. Alright, so it's... Nick was very clever picking out this kind of wind here because... You know, see, the problem is, normally if you play something like this, the ball's going to draw very severely. But if you try to fade, you end up then, you know, falling into a trap where then, you know, you end up losing whatever fade. The wind will catch your ball and push it left into this tree. So, it's tough. It's tough. So I'm going to do something like this instead, where I try to land rather gingerly in this front region, and then just let the wind and everything else just push that ball up as best I can. Because trust me, it'll do something. That hook probably stung a little. That might have been a pretty solid line had I hit sweet spot. But maybe I would have gone far too, who knows? Okay. Yeah, this side of the green is pretty evil, so... Aim a decent bit. Decent bit of power. Did I over-aim? No, I didn't. Apparently not. Good. I've been wrong about some of these putts. Annoyingly frequently. Okay. Well, at least I didn't fall into the tree trap. Okay, PCG 15, rain and a decent crosswind. And right flag. Alright, so my goal here is going to be to run this sucker down as far as possible so that then that can activate the softest possible second shot. See how that goes. I want a topspin, but I mashed both buttons at the same time, but this will still run a decent ways. I'm hoping that the mushroom's not in my way because I didn't add topspin. Okay, I seem to be far enough away from it that it's not such an issue, so... Aim this a good ways away such that... Yeah, because this is a big downslope and it's raining, so I need all the bite I can get. I need all the spin I can get. That works. And then just super aggressive return here. Beauty. Nice 23. Or 24, somewhere around there. Alright, Sands 2. Big crosswind with a little tail. This is actually kind of encouraging because this gives me some potential here to get on this oasis for a potential eagle chance. I'm definitely gonna want topspin for insurance in case I land in rough. Or water, a Lamau. Okay. 271 and elevated green, so that's pretty ambitious, so maybe I just settle for reaching the green. But I will try adding a bit of fade and getting close-ish anyway. Looks like I'll have a putt at least. But it'll be an adventure. But that's what I'm good at. That's what I'm good at. Alright. So this like slopes all the way and then it plunges. It's like, you know, splash boats at the amusement park. Alright, so I'm gonna go 60 and I'm gonna aim like way the fuck out here. Darn, maybe there was a chance if I did hit that 60, but I caught the 63 instead. Okay. A clean 2-putt from there's not bad. Alright. At least I did get the green in 2, so that was half a victory in itself. Okay, Badlands 7. Right flag with a big headwind, so this does command a fairly assertive attack here. I'm gonna try to use this mound to sort of fade and steer toward the cup. See how that goes. Not a fan of this slice, but as long as I carry the green, I should be okay. Yeah, because if I landed in rough, I was probably tumbling in the water, so that could have been bad. Alright. Alright, like Mufasa, stay low to the ground. Pull back, pull back! Oh, frick. Overhit and +5 was incredibly devastating. Oh, boy. Ultra aggressive pipe. Alright, fine. Get out of here. Okay. What, we got a par 5 coming up? CCF 17. Interesting. Of course, if there's anyone who can make CCF 17 challenging, it's Nick. So yeah, we got a big, you know, sort of crosswind thingy. But then we have a pin here that is incredibly anti-synergistic against this wind. So yeah, trying to like, honestly, it almost feels like the best play is to somehow land on the fairway in front of the green with a bunch of backspin, and try to land near or beneath the cup and then putt up for the eagle. But in order to get that point, I want to try to land in, you know, this sort of ridge of upslope area so that I can acquire as much loft for my second shot as possible. So something like maybe I went a little farther than I would like, but that said, loft does not seem to be an issue, though carry is a little more iffy. I'm not 100% how much the wind might boost me in this regard. Let me see that. Maybe, just maybe, if I exploit this rough patch up here, if I carry that far, that would be great, but since I'm going so far uphill, I'm not sure if the wind will cooperate in such a way. So maybe what I'll do instead is play out wide and slice it and then hope for the best. Didn't want to quite slice it that much, because that was a 3-framer. I wanted 2, but, you know. Yeah, and backspin was kind of a jerk reaction too, so this is going to be pretty awkward now. Let's see. Let's see now. Going all in. Yes! It's a very Boolean sort of situation. It's like, you know, you have to assert yourself to a certain extent. Either you're sinking it or you're not, right? So you kind of have to go for it. You can't let the slope win. And if, you know, you overshoot, then you just go uphill, and going uphill is easier than down, right? Alright, so hole 9, PCG 1, we got a moderate headwind, and we got this corner flag out here. Well, let's see. Now, what I could do here is, I believe Wally is strong enough to carry enough to make this happen. But if something goes wrong, I can always add a slice to bail out. But yeah, this'll work. This'll work. And then I can just land in the center of the green and run or bounce up or whatever, and then if I do overshoot, then the chip coming back is simple. I could have added a pinch of backspin here, but maybe I don't need it. Yeah, this is almost prime real estate here. Alright. Birdie is always acceptable. R3 here coming up, okay. What do we got? Ooh, elevated green, massive tailwind. Trolley combination. Alright. So, the way to attack shit like this is to try to hit high. That ball was really trying to push, so it was. I'm glad I did add some backspin. Alright, we got some slightly weird shit happening with the pin, but maybe if I hit this hard enough, then it won't be an issue. Oh, it tried. Oh boy. Okay. Well, good thing I did hit hard enough. So I'll consider that a victory. Alright, what do we got? A par 5 coming up here? Oh, no. My worst nemesis, blooper 2. Although this wind is really trying to goad the player into going out here and then, you know, taking a tailwind boost to try to, you know, snag this eagle. I mean, it's the final round, for goodness sake. So my plan here is to kind of smack the top of this mound and then gently kind of roll up. Topspin is not necessary. And, you know, backspin, you know, maybe just a little backspin. You don't want too much because this mound is strong. And then, you know, to control carry, I can always just push the impact up slightly. Sort of like this. Textbook. Alright, and a clean lie too, so Wally definitely has a strong chance here. But, yeah, these... I seem to be on a slightly weird lie because I'm not carrying as much as I might potentially be able to. But the wind might do something. The question though is, do I carry over the bunker or not? Or do I maybe play something slightly safer? I'll see what happens here. Camera is suggesting that maybe I did catch the bunker. Okay, I think I rolled back just enough to... Oh dear. Okay. Oh dear. I'll have to dig myself out, and then hopefully have something decent for birdie. Now, most greenside bunkers you can adequately escape with 60 or 70 feet. This thing here is deeper, and the pin's a little bit deeper too. So I'm gonna need a fairly healthy swipe here in order to get out. So I'm wondering if maybe something like 100 to 110 maybe is more suitable. I'm gonna round up. I biased to the right, didn't I? But yeah, otherwise the power level itself was really good there. Okay, yeah, beautiful. Assertive putt to kill slope. And an acceptable birdie. Because, yeah, I'll sometimes par this hole. Oh, shoot. What do we got coming up here? A par 2? Oh, it's the approach green. And, yeah, there's multiple pins that could be used, so maybe this one's a tough pin. No wind. But it's the far pin. Okay. So I guess I'm being challenged to hole-in-one this. Is that the case? If that's the case, then I accept your challenge.
Nice shot.
You have been warned. Ah! Didn't aim quite enough to accommodate the draw. That would have been great if I was maybe using like Cooper or Diddy. But that was the premise anyway. Because I don't think that that distance was perfect for a dunk. And even then, I've been burnt on dunks so often. So what do we got here? Lackey 5 with rain and heavy wind that goes away from the tree line and towards the green. And a pretty tricky flag to boot, so... Alright, this will be interesting. So the main idea here is to kind of play more the tree line where the rain's going to kill my draw, but the wind's going to bring me back toward the edge. See what something like this does. And if I'm not as close as I would like, then I could always add more draw. Yeah, I'm kind of like on a weird slopey lie, so I might have to get pretty creative here anyway. Or maybe I just go over everything. Maybe I do. How comfy is that? Not the comfiest thing in the world. Alright, what? Loft comparison. A powered 3 versus a normal 4. A normal 4 definitely does perk up higher, so we'll go with that.
Nice shot.
We'll just let this draw in as much as it can. So I did get the green, and the putt's not bad. I just got the right amount of power. Nice, okay, it was far enough downhill that it was still nice and brisk, even at 42 or 44 or wherever that was. That was probably towards the upper edge of the rain ratio anyway. So what do we got here? Ooh, we got CCF2 with a giant tailwind and rain. So this is definitely like your Bowser and PD bait. But unfortunately I didn't breed them, but I can get approach, and that is worth something. In fact, I might even be able to get within 40 yards. Because I'm going to take a considerable bounce off that mound. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Yeah, this is going to slip a decent bit, so maybe I'll even do like bottom ball and then add backspin as needed. Normal would have been great there. I got a little scared of the RNG. Okay. Yeah, not a whole lot to that. I'm still doing pretty good here, all things considered. Yeah, it's those darn short holes that got me. Those are tough. Alright, PCG 9 with giant headwind. Yikes. So basically, Nick is kind of preventing you from trying to get however far up here. He's basically forcing this mushroom up here to always be a looming presence. Well, darn. Alright. I'm gonna try things the control way. The way that lesser characters would have to do this. I'm playing out here and running up so that then I don't have any conflicts with any of the fairway mushrooms. But then here, this does force me to draw around and then potentially try to take those into consideration. So, yeah, East complicated. And then there's like a pair of mounds that define this screen, so trying to like wedge myself and basically biting in place is the goal here, but that'll be easier said than done. I think a slice would have been nice here, but yeah, because I'm drawing in pretty hard there. The headwind kind of forced that. So, eek. Okay. Yeah, wind and slope did not hold their end of the bargain on that. So, I'll begrudgingly... How did that miss? Did that just literally not break at all? Okay, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Alright, what do we got here? Ooh, nice. Giant tailwind on an elevated green. I sense a pattern. Yep. Yeah, it's virtually impossible to stick this, so I think my best plan, honestly, is to kind of land up on this rough and spin up. Oh, that slice is gonna maybe be interesting. Well, I did catch the rough, but spin proved to be slightly excessive, but this is actually a good angle of return. I can live with this. I can live with this.
Nice shot. Chip in. Nice birdie.
Wait and put the brakes on that just enough. Oh, that's a good birdie. Bogey was stupid. Alright, what do we got? Oh, dear, oh my. Alright. Rain, giant tailwind, and back flag on Badlands 4. Ye of all such little faith. This is basically textbook, you know, blast through the rough. But let's see how that actually holds up in practice. This is gonna bounce a lot, so I added backspin. Oh, hey, Lamau, dude. Huh. I'm surprised that this was labeled as a par 4, because it's definitely par 3 distance. Maybe that was just Nick being nice after that gnarly par 2. Okay. Oh, and what do we got here? We got Badlands 8, the magnum opus of the game, with a strong headwind, thereby potentially encouraging, shots that stop quicker to this island here, and, you know, power characters going up to La Volcano. But sadly, this is still, I mean, you'd have to be incredibly foolish. But I do believe that Wally could make this. Although maybe if you didn't do it right, maybe you'll actually end up going too far. Yeah, I literally today years old, and I noticed that Waluigi can somehow actually make that. That's crazy. He's an absolute mad lad. Absolute mad lad. Alright. Just gotta try to perch up here as best I can.
Nice shot.
Just in case I land in the rough or something I want to spin out. I seem to have over-aimed a bit. Okay. Thankfully I didn't spin too much. Now, I would have to be kind of desperate in order to attempt some kind of eagle play here, because there's just way too much volatility playing from rough here, so... And I do have a pretty good round considering how difficult all these conditions are, so I'll just perch down here. That is totally fine.
Nice shot.
Even though this would probably still leave a fairly challenging third shot. Yeah, never the easiest thing here, but I could maybe make use of the front portion of the screen and then just kind of fade over. I could do something like that.
Nice shot.
Did not want to hit a slice there, but okay, we have a little bit of that and we have a little bit of that. Yeah, this is definitely very puttable. If I hit hard enough, then the slope at the beginning is going to be stronger, so... Yeah, I needed that 40, darn it. Maybe could have held up. Okay. Couple of bad holes at the end, but much of the rest was good. Yeah, much of the rest was good there, so can't complain really. There were some gnarly combos there. And there were just a lot of difficult holes from, you know, much of the latter parts of the game anyway, so minus 15 is solid. Even if the par was 71. But yeah. Alright, that's gonna be that. Some tells me that a round like this probably would not have won in a match, but not bad. Not bad for being a sight read, you know? Until the next video, thank you for watching.